Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're here today to announce a collaborative effort to make New Bedford a safer place. I'm here today with DA Sam Sutter, City Council President Steve Martins, and Police Chief David Provencher to announce an effort to help the city fund its Shotspotter gunshot detection system. Shotspotter, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, is a new technology installed in the city of New Bedford about a year ago that enables police to detect the time and location of gunshots in our city and to respond to them quickly. And you drive around our city, you'll see on the tops of light poles these robot-looking devices that are there basically to pick up the sound of gunshots, to identify the sound of gunshots and triangulate the position of those shots. And in the process of doing that, the system sends a call to the police dispatch in that part of town and enables police to respond to it immediately. Now, we were able to install this system through a federal grant that the city received in the last year or so. And what it requires of the city is to maintain it. The city itself isn't in a position to maintain the system. We don't have the technical capability of doing that. So what we and other cities will do is to hire a contractor to maintain it. This service doesn't come for free. It will cost the city approximately $142,000 a year. This is something that when the police budget came up in the last month or so, I discussed the cost with Chief Provencher to see whether it was really worth it. He made a convincing case that it sure is worth it, that it's helped his department and the DA's office solve shootings, including some murders, and has enabled police to respond much more quickly to shots. And the reason is this: it's for all the shots that are out there, and of course, you know, New Bedford's crime rate isn't what other cities have experienced, but we do have shootings, and there are shots fired from time to time. And in many of those instances, people don't pick up the phone and call the police. And that's unfortunate. And we try to encourage people to report crimes, but the reality is that not everybody does. What ShotSpotter does is it ensures that police are called immediately, are notified immediately of a very specific location and the number of shots fired, enabling a quick response. And the chief, I think, made a convincing case that we ought to include the $142,000 in the budget, despite the fact that we could probably get 2 additional police officers for the same amount of money year in and year out. So it's in the budget. I think it works very well. I am convinced. But then right after it was included in the budget, and the Standard Times wrote a piece about it, DA Sutter gave me a call and he said, "I've got an idea." And the idea is this: that we'll use some of our forfeited assets to help you defray the cost of the system. And you know, when anybody comes to me offering free money, I, like anybody else, say absolutely and thank you very much. But it really reflects on his part real out-of-the-box thinking about public safety and our city's budgetary needs. And as a former federal prosecutor, I realized that in order to make money go far and to deal with our law enforcement and public safety priorities, you have to think out of the box, and that's what the district attorney's been doing, and that's what he's been doing ever since he set foot in the office. And I'm just pleased that we have this opportunity to announce this initiative with the public. We have a terrific working relationship with the district attorney's office, and look forward to a continuingly positive relationship in the time that he remains in office, if it's short or if it's long, depending on the results of an election soon. But in any event, it's a great working relationship, and this will yield positive results for the the safety of the citizens of New Bedford. So I'm going to ask the district attorney to say a few words about his idea, a great one, a real one that we appreciate, and let him explain a little bit of his thinking. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thanks,
Mayor Mitchell. Let me quickly say before I start that, as many of you know, I had an excellent relationship with Mayor Lang that became a good friendship. And when John was elected in November, I was hoping that we could quickly develop the same kind of relationship, and we have. I mean, it's every bit as good as the relationship that I had with the previous administration, and the city is, I think, very fortunate to have such an outstanding mayor, and I'm fortunate that we have quickly developed such an excellent working relationship and friendship. So thank you very much for your kind words. I hope I don't go on too long, but I'm very proud of this moment because I think that it sort of highlights a number of things that we've been doing at the district attorney's office over the last few years. So I am standing here beside Mayor Mitchell to announce that my office will be assisting the city of New Bedford in paying for the yearly maintenance fee required to keep Shotspotter, the Shotspotter gunshot detection system up and running in New Bedford. From the time I took office on January 4th, 2007, I've implemented a continuing series of new policies at the district attorney's office in an effort to reduce gun violence in Bristol County. When I was campaigning for the office in 2006, I said repeatedly that gun violence, alongside terrorism, was the #1 public safety issue in the nation. In the city of New Bedford alone, that year, 2006, some 38 people were shot, and we estimate approximately 50 countywide. When I took office, I immediately set forth on a plan to attack this problem, which not only threatened the lives of our citizens, but also had the potential to stymie much-needed economic development plans in New Bedford, as well as Fall River and Taunton. My prosecutors, as you all know, began requesting dangerousness hearings for any defendants charged with illegal gun felonies in order to send a loud and clear message to criminals carrying illegal guns and having high-capacity weapons in their apartments and homes, and also a toxic combination of drug dealing with possession of a gun, to send a message to them that they'd be swiftly taken off the streets, held without bail, and prosecuted rapidly to additionally reduce instances of retaliatory gun violence or witness intimidation while defendants were out on bail. My Superior Court prosecutors started recommending a minimum of 10 years in state prison for anyone convicted of intentionally shooting another human being, and my office also helped sponsor a number of gun buyback programs to get firearms off the streets, and my state police unit began building cases against illegal gun traffickers, bringing guns into Bristol County. And finally, in May of 2008, I began assigning specific prosecutors to respond to scenes of all non-fatal shootings and work with local police departments to investigate and apprehend those responsible. The results have been very rewarding. Shootings and shots fired have been markedly reduced during the past 5.5 years. I believe, due to the impact of these policies and the concomitant outstanding efforts of police departments and mayors and other elected officials throughout Bristol County, and a greatly improved relationship between my office and our county's 20 local police departments. Last January, as the mayor referred to, I stood in this room alongside Mayor Lang, former Police Chief Teachman, Congressman Barney Frank, and several members of the New Bedford City Council to announce that New Bedford was to be the first city in Bristol County to add the Shotspotter gunshot detection system to its arsenal of tools to improve public safety, save lives, and apprehend those who fire weapons on the streets. In less than a year since the system has been activated in New Bedford, Shotspotter has proven to be an extremely effective law enforcement tool. It's reduced response times to scenes of shootings, it's assisted investigators to determine the type and caliber of weapon fired, and it has brought us to shooting scenes that would not have been reported by 911 calls in the past. For all of its benefits to police, prosecutors, and public safety, maybe its greatest potential asset has been and will be that of a life-saving one. Because police and paramedics are now being instantaneously notified of a specific gunshot location, the possibility of saving a gunshot victim's life has increased. We all know the physical destruction a bullet can cause to the human body, and when it comes to injuries caused by gunshots, a matter of minutes can be the difference between life and death. I strongly believe that saving lives and solving homicides and solving shootings mandates the $50,000 commitment from my office to make sure New Bedford does not lose this vital law enforcement tool. Before closing, I could list numerous examples in which Shotspotter has helped us just in the past year to solve or prosecute a case. But instead of going through the list and taking up too much more time, I'll simply tell you one specific instance. On a Friday evening in late July of 2011, Shotspotter detected gunshots at an address on Acushnet Avenue. Minutes later, police received a call regarding a man shot at a different address, about 4 blocks away from the actual scene of the shooting. In the past, police and prosecutors would have responded to the 911 call location, attended to the wounded victim, and begun their investigation at that location. Law enforcement may never have known that the actual shooting occurred several blocks away, which could have meant the shooting would never have been solved, and vital ballistic evidence may never have been located to use at the trial. But because ShotSpotter told us exactly where the gunshots were fired, police were able to respond also to that scene, quickly obtain ballistic evidence, and recover 2 illegal firearms, and apprehend the person that we have now charged with the shooting. This case is truly a shining example of how valuable this system can be to law enforcement and our continued aggressive attack on urban gun violence. So without further delay, I would like to now present, I feel as if, John, you've won some tennis tournament or something like that, a $50,000 check from the District Attorney's drug forfeiture account, more than 35% of ShotSpotter's annual maintenance and upgrade fee, to my good friend and partner in making New Bedford a safer place to live and work, Mayor John Mitchell.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, John. There you go.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
The chief was the only one who clapped. We should have had one of those big checks. No, this is great. Thank you, Sam. And I think this is an important program. And one of the things that, let me just throw out one other important fact about the system, and that is it has been refined to the point where false positives have been almost eliminated. In other words, the ShotSpotter is not activated, and the experience of the chief, and he can elaborate on this, just by virtue of someone setting off firecrackers on the 4th of July. It really does accurately detect shots, and I'm sure that the chief can elaborate on this too. We're finding that fewer and fewer individuals are carrying firearms, and in part we suspect because if you fire that weapon, you're likely to get found in the city of New Bedford, and people should know that. It's all the more reason not to carry a firearm if you're inclined to do it. Without any further ado, let me ask City Council President Steve Martins to come on up. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Mayor. I joined the chief in clapping because when we receive checks like that, we of course we're going to clap because it helps out our budget. But I want to say we were here a year ago with the same people in announcing ShotSpotter, and New Bedford became the first city in Bristol County, as District Attorney Sam Sutter said, that we received ShotSpotter. And like any elected official, we always worry about when a year is up and we know that we have to somehow pay for it, and once the grant ends, we have to think as an elected body and how we're going to move forward with it. And I believe I can speak on behalf of the council that, and with conversations with Mayor Mitchell and Chief Provencher, that ShotSpotter has served its purpose here in the city of New Bedford. It was welcoming by all the neighborhood groups in our city, and also gave a sense of security with the neighbors who are living, the citizens, that ShotSpotter was there, and it served its purpose, as District Attorney Sam Sutter said, and Mayor Mitchell. And also, it's important to note that even though the funds are in the police budget, and Chief Provencher will have an opportunity to go through the council through the budget hearings, that this money not only helps our department and helps our city, but it also helps fund another police officer or give more resources to the police department because of the commitment from District Attorney Sam Sutter, and we appreciate that on behalf of the council. The council has always advocated with Mayor Mitchell that we don't have enough police officers in our street, that we don't have enough resources, and knowing that we can keep ShotSpotter and also with additional funding that can help out Chief Provencher in moving forward and giving him the resources that he needs. And we always welcome more money, District Attorney Sam Sutter, if you'd like to. But we appreciate that, and we look forward to with a successful year again with ShotSpotter because of District Attorney Sam Sutter.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you. Let me call up Chief David Provencher, who, more than anyone else here, knows the system well and knows the results that it has produced. Chief?
Thanks, Mayor. Appreciate it. Sam, thank you. I wish you'd given me a shot at this because I could have negotiated them up to 75. I think the best way to really describe the value of ShotSpotter in a nutshell is to simply relate it to an insurance policy. None of us like the money that we have to spend on health insurance, life insurance, or property insurance. And it's a gamble we take that we'll never need it. But the reality is, the day comes you need it, and you're really happy that you have it. And I think ShotSpotter is the same sort of a policy for the city. It only needs to save one life for it to have paid itself off in spades. And I think the value of it's been proven in the first year. And I think that it'll continue to do that as time goes on. I want to commend District Attorney Sutter and Mayor Mitchell for their leadership on recognizing the value of the system and committing the funds to help support it and keep it running. Thank both of you. I still think Sam could have come up with more.
What's that expression about the gift horse?
Yeah. We'll be happy to take any questions.
Mayor, I wonder, could you talk what the overall impact is to the city budget of this 50,000 lots?
5-0. 5-0, not 1-5. 5-0, okay.
Right. Well, it helps pay for an important system. It pays for more than a third of this budgeted item. So it's budgeted at about $142,000 a year. And sure, in the larger city budget, it's certainly less than 1% to do the math. But that's not the point. The point is that it's $50,000 that the city didn't have before. So in that way, it's important revenue for the city. And it's going to an important purpose, one that helps the DA do his job and one that helps the police chief do his job.
But you'll be able to instead of putting that money, that 50,000 into the police budget, you'll now be you'll now be able to use the money that might have gone to ShotSpotter for another department.
Well, look, I mean, the budget is an evolving document, and I'm sure the chief would have something to say about that. The budget is in the hands of the city council right now, and the city council is, Council President Martins just mentioned, will be taking up the police portion of the budget this week, right? I think it is. Is it this week or next week? Next week.
And the rest of the money will come from the city budget for ShotSpotter.
This might be a better question for the DA, but sure. Either way, can you speak to, I know, Mr. Mayor, you mentioned that it's refined to the point where it's very error-proof, but back in December, it was said to have picked up sounds from a fight that happened, and then ACLU got involved and all that stuff. Can you speak to that as far as, you know, how it's been refined, and is that an issue for you guys to deal with?
To me, that's not an issue. I think when you're speaking loudly on public streets, there's no expectation of privacy. No expectation of privacy when speaking loudly on public streets. So as I said to a colleague of yours from the New York Times, I believe certainly it will be challenged in that case. I believe it will be ruled admissible. And I think it will continue to be ruled admissible when it does pick up loud voices. Remember, now, these weren't whispers, otherwise it wouldn't have picked it up. So I'm not... Go ahead, David. Yeah.
There's a little point there that I think that you need to acknowledge. And the fact of the matter is, ShotSpotter doesn't get activated by voices. It gets activated by gunshots. And gunshots activated the system. And within that activation, these voices were picked up. And it's a very serious distinction between those two.
And do you think in arguing the point, it's more, this is a benefit for public safety, because in this situation, it actually did benefit the safety of the public, correct?
Well, it certainly did to this dramatic extent. We have brought charges in that homicide. So according to the FBI definition, you bring charges, that's a solve. And that case is pending. We are alleging that a particular individual was involved in that a murder, but that ShotSpotter was indispensable to our solving, to our bringing charges for that crime. And I want to echo what the mayor said, because I mentioned saving lives and solving homicides and solving shootings, but kind of like the dangerousness hearings sent a message out about what was going to take place if you had an illegal firearm on the streets of the city. This sends a message out too about firing the weapon. The chances are, if that takes place, you are going to be discovered and you're going to be prosecuted severely. So I think this has an excellent cautionary, maybe even the word is prophylactic effect on gun violence in our city.
And with such a new technology, what's the process like of getting something like this admissible in court? I'm sure there's two sides to that.
We'll follow that case, because that's exactly what's going to take place in that case. What's going to happen is that the defense attorney will file a motion to suppress the statements, and a judge will rule on that. And I'm not going to say anything more other than what I would say if I was arguing that case myself, which is that I contend that it is admissible evidence.
Sam, knowing the importance of ShotSpotter in Bedford, why not help out other communities start up a ShotSpotter instead of giving us some money to defray the cost?
Well, wait and see, because that's an excellent question that I anticipated. If you think about it, we just concluded a very successful wiretap operation that was primarily based in Taunton, but also had a connection to Attleboro. The cost of that is similar to the cost of this, and so that means that Fall River is in line for something similar, and that is coming.
Sam, is this a one-shot deal
For
the $50,000 check for ShotSpotter? Are you doing it this year? And moreover, are you making a commitment for future years?
I want to hear this answer.
Not really.
We're going to take it year by year.
Lifetime.
Number one,
commitment.
year by year. But number two, obviously, if I believe in this technology to the extent that I do, I want to see this maintained at the highest level so that it continues to operate at the highest level of efficiency and effectiveness. So that's my answer. How did that satisfy you?
I heard lifetime commitment.
That's what I heard.
Is that what you heard too?
Ironclad commitment.
Okay.
Yeah, all joking aside, it's a good thing that we didn't go to Sam Sutter to ask for this money. He came to us and offered it. So that, and this is something he just thought up and did, which says a lot about his approach to the job. And you know, as the chief noted, it appeared, and as Sam noted, it appears to be changing behavior. You know, we don't have data on that as far as I know, but at least anecdotally, it seems that people are becoming less willing to carry firearms in our city, and that's a good thing. Anybody else? All right, everyone.
Great.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Your choice to recycle can affect more people than you think. Call Marissa at 508-979-1493 to request your free recycling bins. This message was brought to you by the City of New Bedford and UMass Dartmouth Charlton School of Business.